plain and simple. And so, speaking of points, let's find our next deal here. It's our scoring, and nope, that's not it. See, eventually I'll figure this out. There we go. Total. That's what I want. Boom. Okay. Points per game. All. And we didn't give our advantage for the last one. So I will ask you, Mr. Shaun, where do you give the advantage when it comes to Notre Dame's passing defense versus Virginia's passing offense? I'm going to go with Virginia on this one.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah,
I'm right there with you. I think it's a little bit closer because of the injury to Brennan Armstrong.
Sure.
And not knowing the type of player we're going to get on Saturday night, and not knowing if 14 is going to play.
Right.
I mean, all of those factors factor into that decision. But if you had to ask me today, I'm going to have to give the edge to Virginia in the passing game.
Right.
Yep,
absolutely. So let's look at the scoring ranks here. You'll notice a few single-digit ranks on one side, only one single-digit rank on the other. Yards per game, they're putting up 545 yards a game, which is unbelievable. And obviously it is because it's first in the country. But 7.2 yards a play. Their red zone, they're okay in the red zone. They get bogged down in the red zone, actually, a decent amount. That is the one thing that jumped out at me as I was watching Virginia's film, and I didn't have these numbers in front of me.
Yeah.
But I felt like they were kicking a lot of field goals, to be perfectly honest with you, once they get down to the red zone.
Well, that's what happens when you run that spread offense.
Right.
You get into close quarters and everything becomes a little bit more difficult, and you don't have room to operate. You have to be able to run the ball. You have to be able to line up and knock people off the line of scrimmage to score in the red zone. So that's why Notre Dame has struggled in the red zone, because that offensive line early on wasn't able to do that.
Absolutely. No question. Yep. Completely agree with that. And, Notre Dame has done a really good job of creating turnovers. And, Virginia has turned the ball over, to be honest with you. 67th in the country is not great when you have an offense that is as prolific as this offense is. You cannot turn the ball over as much as they are. That means that I believe they had 8 interceptions on the last card. So that means they've got 5 fumbles as well. So they have to do a better job of protecting the football. And Notre Dame, look, they need to do what they do. They need to force turnovers. They're going to have opportunities. Virginia's going to put the ball in the air. They're going to give you opportunities to get some turnovers, and Notre Dame absolutely needs to capitalize in that area.
I totally agree with you. Turnovers are what it hurt them against North Carolina. It definitely hurt them against Wake Forest. And I think it hurt them against Miami as well. So they'll turn the ball over. They'll give you an opportunity. Once you get the ball, so how many times have we seen the Notre Dame offense get a turnover and not be able to cash it in with a touchdown?
True.
And it's been really frustrating. Or get great field position, whether it's a turnover on downs or another big play, and we just haven't been able to cash that in. Look, when you look at the rankings for Virginia, you say to yourself, well, first of all, you say to yourself, they might average more points than their basketball team. As slow as their basketball team.
It's a good point. They live and breathe with the burn offense.
I know, but with all of that being said, the stats look really good, but if you look at their toughest opponents, they scored 28, 30, 31, and their toughest opponents have been middle of the road ACC teams because they haven't played Pitt yet. And I think that's going to be the toughest game for them in conference. So Notre Dame has a chance. Once again, if they can just play simple, fundamental football.
Yeah.
They have a chance to really hold Virginia. If they hold Virginia under 30, the game is over.
Oh, absolutely agree with that.
It's over.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, again, everybody's having an issue with the fact that we said Notre Dame's going to score 50 points or that they should score 50 points. That's the goal, okay? You put 50 up on the board. That's the goal. We're not predicting that to happen, and we'll have our predictions tomorrow in tomorrow's show. I can, spoiler alert, I'm not predicting Notre Dame to score 50, okay? But would I be surprised if they did? Not really, because that's how bad – I'm not saying that's how good Notre Dame's offense is. That's how bad this Virginia defense is. Okay, again, go watch the film. They're bad. They're really, really bad. And if Notre Dame can hold Virginia under 30 points, look, they're averaging almost 40 points a game.
Yeah.
They're 1 point shy of 40 points a game. That's 11th in the country. If Notre Dame can hold them 10 points under their average, that's a pretty darn good day if you're Notre Dame. Pretty darn good day. Look, if I'm writing out my goal sheet, for example, if I'm Notre Dame, under 400 yards of total offense, okay, I think that's a pretty decent day.
Yeah.
Okay, and under 30 yards points, I think that's a pretty decent day as well. And would I be surprised if it was better than that? No, because I think this defense is ascending. I think they're doing really good things right now. But if Notre Dame hits their averages in this game, that's a really good outing for Notre Dame's defense.
Okay, so now this is the perfect segue for the question I've been holding for you and everybody that's watching, right? Because this is our big game to show the committee who we are,
sure,
and how different we are than the Cincinnati game as a team, how we've progressed, right? So, what type of game would speak more volumes to the committee? Would it be Notre Dame winning, scoring 50, and winning 51-34? Or would it be Notre Dame being dominant defensively and shutting down the second best offense in the nation and holding them to 17 points while scoring 31? Like, which one do you think speaks gives you a better look as to how different Notre Dame is if you're the committee?
To me, if you can hold this offense to 17 points,
that's pretty.
I think that's where you're looking at. And I was worried that you were going to say Notre Dame was going to score in the 20s. Now, 31's not that much higher than the 20s. Okay.
Right.
But it's still a convincing win.
Right.
Okay.
It can be 37-17, 34-17.
Right. You're still talking about a very convincing win for Notre Dame. You're talking what, 20 points basically, or 15 to 20 points. I think that speaks volumes. If your defense is not only ascending, but they may be there if they hold this team to 17 points. I think that would speak volumes to the committee. And scoring, for Notre Dame to score, 34, 37, that's about what their average is. So that would be fine. I would be fine with that as well. So I think that's the scenario that would be best case for Notre Dame to really impress the voters. And then, you know what? Then you're scoreboard watching too. Like you're hoping that something similar to last weekend happens this weekend, in that the teams that are up high, even though they didn't lose, they struggled. Right? They struggled. Right. And if Notre Dame doesn't struggle and they put a beat down on Virginia's offense like that, I think that would speak volumes. I really do. I think that they would have an opportunity to leapfrog both Michigan teams. Yeah. I still don't know what they're going to do with Oklahoma, but I think they could very well leapfrog both Michigan teams and be in the conversation.
I'm torn on it.
Yeah.
I'm torn on it because I think seeing the offense score would be a far departure from what the committee saw with this Notre Dame team and the story of the offensive line and the quarterback play struggling early. So that would be a stark contrast to what they thought Notre Dame was, and we hung our hat, or Notre Dame hung their hat on the defense. So the defense coming out and being dominant, the committee saw that already. They haven't seen this offense go out and just dominate a game.
That's true.
Lead Notre Dame to a convincing win. But it's as someone in the chat said, the committee loves points. Who doesn't love points?
It's sexy.
Yeah.
Points are sexy.
It's entertaining.
Yeah.
So, but I could go either way. I mean, I'm going to take either way. A dominant win is a dominant win.
Right. No doubt about that.
But it was just interesting to think, like, how would the committee look at it?
Sure.
And what would they want? What would they want to see? I think game control is important. I do want to see Notre Dame control this game from start to finish.
Yes, that's huge.
I want to see.
That's huge. I agree with you.
I don't want to see, it tight, low scoring going into the third quarter and then Notre Dame pulls away. No, I want to see control from the beginning
to
the end And I think that is what will speak more volumes to the committee, is that, you know what, Notre Dame went on the road and from the first snap totally dominated Virginia, regardless of what the score ended up being.
All right.